She let a stranger sit at her table in a busy cafe. She didn't know he was a millionaire single dad. Rain had stopped, making the path wet and bright under the soft orange of evening light. Street lights came on early, putting long shadows in water as the city moved tiredly on. On a busy street near Union Square, a nice cafe called Rustin and Rose gave a warm break from the chill. Its steamed windows shone a little gold in the gray, with candles moving on tables. Inside, the room was full of people, like students typing fast, workers on late video calls, and pairs sitting in small seats. The air was loud with many talks, the sound of milk mixers, and the strong smell of coffee and sweet buns. In a far corner by the heater, Anna sat still, bent over an old drawing book. She was young, in her early 20s, with light hair tied up loosely that had mostly fallen out. Her big sweater had a tear in the arm and was quite old. Her pants were worn at the knees, her shoes wet from the walk. One half-empty coffee sat getting cold next to her, her only treat in days. She looked at the paper where she had started drawing a window looking out to a bright sky. Drawing was the only thing that felt right. Money was owed. Her top-floor flat in Brooklyn was too chilly, and since her last customer left without paying, she had been eating mostly porridge and sometimes toast from the cafe workers who would sometimes give her food. But right then, her hand moved surely, making something she hoped could last through the hard times. Then the door rang. A man came in, tall and wet from the light rain, his dark hair messy from the wind. Next to him stood a small girl, maybe 5, tiny with curly hair, her hands held tight to her ears. She jumped at the sound. Her eyes quickly looked around in fear. The man walked fast to the counter. "Sorry," he said to the coffee maker, his voice soft and quick. "Is any seat free? My daughter, she's feeling too much." The coffee maker shook her head sadly. "Sorry, no seats are left. We're very busy." The girl shook. Her eyes started to get wet. Anna had been watching silently. She shut her drawing book, took a breath, then lifted her hand. "You can sit here," she said kindly. "There's space." The man looked at her. Shock showed on his face. "Are you certain?" Anna nodded. "Totally. She looks like she needs a quiet place." He waited, then took his daughter to the empty chairs. The girl leaned into him, still sniffing. Her hands stayed tight in her coat arms. Anna put her hand into her cloth bag and took out a box of crayons, old, used, with its paper coming off. She put it softly on the table. "Do you want to draw something?" she asked the girl. "I always have colors with me." The little one looked at her unsure. Then, with a slow nod, she put out her hand. Anna smiled and gave her a sheet from her drawing book. "What do you like drawing most?" she asked quietly. The girl softly said, "Butterflies." Anna's face brightened. "Then let's make the nicest butterfly in the entire cafe." She put a yellow crayon into the girl's hand. The child paused, then bent forward, tongue out from her mouth as she pushed color onto paper. Her hand still shook, but a calm happiness appeared in her moves. Jack, though Anna did not yet know his name, watched without a sound, his eyes growing soft as he saw his daughter relax. His own shoulders started to drop from being tense. He breathed out softly. A woman at the next table looked over, scrunching her nose. "Truly?" she said. "Are you simply going to let a new person sit here?" Anna kept her voice steady. "Sometimes people don't need room. They need warmth." The woman rolled her eyes and looked away. The small girl laughed softly, a nice sound. Anna smiled brightly. Jack, still quiet, took out his phone and secretly took a photo, not to send but to hold. The picture, a butterfly partly drawn on paper, a child coloring, and a young woman with weary eyes and a mending heart giving happiness freely. Their eyes met. In his look, Anna saw something not said. Thanks, maybe surprise, surely deep feeling. She gave a small nod, cheeks getting warm, and looked down again at the butterfly. They went on in quiet, a pace forming between them. Draw, smile, breathe. Outside, the rain had ceased. The sky was still gray, but a soft orange ring had started to show above the city view. In the loud mix of cafe sounds, one calm table had found its own space. A butterfly appeared with crayon wings. A child started to sing softly. And a tale had just started. The rain had ended, but the wind grew strong. As Anna walked out of the cafe, the cold air went through her thin coat like sharp points. The paths shone, lit only by the rare flash of streetlights. Her boots splashed softly through small water pools, her thoughts still on the girl with the butterfly and the man with the soft eyes. She pulled her coat closer and walked quicker. Then came the noise of steps behind her. Anna's heart missed a beat. She turned her head a bit, acting like she was looking at shop displays. No one was near, but the sound of quick steps stayed, getting louder. Her breathing got faster. She sped up her walk. The steps behind her did too. A cold feeling of fear rushed through her body. Her hand held her bag strapped tight, fingers white. She turned a bend, heart beating hard. She could feel it, that feeling, that basic warning, the clear sense of someone walking after her. Without thought, she started to run. She had barely gone half a block before she hit someone, strongly. "Stop! Hey!" a known voice cried out, as firm hands held her shoulders. Anna looked up, breathing hard. It was Jack. She blinked, heart beating fast, her breath cloudy in the cold air. I believed someone was behind me," she stuttered, her voice shaking. Jack's face wrinkled as he looked at the street behind her, moving a bit in front of her. "You're shaking," he said softly. "Let me walk you home, just to be safe." She paused. Her guard was up. But how true his voice sounded, and the calm in his eyes made a little bit of her fear go away. She nodded slowly. "Okay." They walked next to each other through the calm streets, the city sounds getting softer behind them. After a short time, Jack spoke. "You seem to be drawing something key back there," he said. Anna gave a small, weary laugh. "I think that's how I stay well. I lost my last art job 3 months ago. I've been turned down by 3 art shops, so now I just draw to keep my mind steady." Jack looked sideways but said nothing. He heard her. "I owe money for rent," she went on, voice very low. "No one is buying art from a person like me. And still, I keep drawing. Butterflies, windows, brightness. I don't even know why now." "Because it is important," he said plainly. She looked up at him. "I've watched people quit," he added, "but you didn't. That means something." They stopped at the bottom of a thin set of stairs going up to an old building, her house. "Thank you," she said, her voice kinder now, "for walking me and for letting your girl draw with me. You helped me recall why I began to paint." Jack nodded. He put his hand into his coat pocket and took out a small card. He held it out to her. "If you ever need help," he said, his voice soft. "Even just a cup of warm drink." She took the card and looked down. Only a name. Jack. No job, no firm, no phone number. She looked back up at him, puzzled, but he was already moving off. "Good night, Anna," he said with a small smile. "Be safe." She stood there for a long time, watching him vanish into the misty night. In her hand, the plain card felt heavier than it should have, not because of what it showed, but because of what it hid. And deep inside she knew this was not the last time they would meet. The week passed by like water through Anna's hands. She spent most of her time at her window desk, bent over her drawing book with her fingers colored by soft chalks and ink. Butterflies, always butterflies. They filled her pages like small, delicate wishes. But beauty could not pay for things. The warmth system in her small top flat had started to shake again, giving weak heat into the room. She wrapped herself in different clothes, trying to work on a new art piece, but the sound of her pencil was stopped by a rap on the door. It was quick, exact. She didn't need to open it to know who it was. Mrs. Brewster. Anna breathed in deep and turned the handle. The flat owner stood in the hall, arms folded, lips pressed tight, her thin brows lifted in constant dislike. "You know what day this is," she said without saying hello. "I do," Anna answered, holding the door's edge. I need a bit more time." Mrs. Brewster's face stayed the same. "Rent was to be paid last Friday. I've been kind, but this is not a free help place." "I know," Anna said fast. "I have a showing today. If they take my art—" Mrs. Brewster stopped her. If that's all I hear from you, I will let you have until next Friday. But if I don't have all the money by then, you are out. Clear?" Anna gulped. "Clear." The door shut softly behind the woman, and Anna leaned on it, breathing out slowly as her legs felt like giving up. Later that day, she walked to the art place, one she had been to months back, one that had once given her a good feeling. It was set between small shops and drink spots, its white insides seen through tall glass. She held her drawing book near her chest as she went in. The art manager, a very well-dressed woman with short, neat hair and shoes that clicked like warnings, met her with a quick look. Anna spoke softly. "Hello, I am Anna Rivers. I came to show my art for them to think about." "You were here before," the manager broke in, her eyes looking at Anna's old coat and dirty shoes. "The girl with the butterfly pictures." Anna nodded. The woman gave a thin smile. "See, art is for people who sell things, not dreamers who draw butterflies in coffee shops." Anna's mouth opened, shocked by how mean the woman sounded. "I am sorry," the manager added without any true feeling, "but we are not keen." She turned around and walked off. Anna stood still for a bit, then slowly turned and walked out. Back on the street, she walked without knowing where to go. Her feet carried her past streets she knew, past a flower seller, a bookshop, and then the café, Rustin and Rose. Through the steamy window, she saw the corner seat where she had met Jack and Mia. It was empty now, sun shining on the wood, making shapes that seemed like wings. She stopped and looked for a long time, her breath making the glass cloudy. A soft smile touched her mouth, but her eyes showed a different tale, one of being weary, of worn-out limits. That night, back in her flat, the wind blew loudly through the broken window. Anna sat on her bed, with drawings all around her. She took her purse and counted the money, hardly enough for food, let alone the house payment. She heard steps. A knock came after. Anna opened the door. Mrs. Brewster stood there again, hands on her sides. Anna did not wait this time. "I am doing it," she said, her voice quiet. "I just need one more week, please." The owner looked at her, face not changing. "Next Friday, not one day more, and I won't be tapping next time. I will be changing the door locks." She turned and walked away, her heels sounding like a last notice. Anna stood there in the hall, holding her breath. When she finally shut the door, it felt heavier than before, as if each push of truth added more weight. She looked around her tiny spot, walls covered with art, windows full of hopes, and thought if she would still be here to see them by the week's end. On Monday morning, the world felt dull again, rain softly hitting the thin glass above Anna's bed. She sat wrapped in a corner, a warm cloth wrapped tight around her shoulders, drinking weak, quick coffee when her phone shook on the small table. It was an email from a sender she did not know. The subject said simply, "We saw your artwork." The note was short, no sign, no name. "Come talk to us." It gave a place, an art shop on the Upper West Side she had only walked past, but never dared to go inside. Anna looked at the screen. Her first thought was doubt. A joke? An error? She tapped the sender's details. Nothing else. She looked around her flat. Empty walls, unmade drawings, a paper about leaving taped to the fridge. Then back at the phone. Maybe it was real. A few hours later, wrapped in her least old coat, she stood unsure in front of a glass-faced art shop with gold letters, The Haven. Inside, the room was open and shiny, full of real light and fancy wood frames. Her boots made a small squeak on the clean floor as she went in. The front desk person, a young woman with a nice smile and smart jacket, stood up as Anna came near. "Anna Rivers?" the desk person asked. Anna blinked. "Yes," she answered. "We have been waiting for you. This way, please." Waiting for her. Anna went after the woman down a calm hall with soft lights and quiet art. At the end of the path was a room with 2 glass doors. The desk person opened them softly. "Please," she said, waving her in. Anna walked in and stopped still. There, standing with his hands in his pants pockets and a gentle smile on his face, was Jack. He was not in the coffee shop shirt and pants she recalled. Today, he wore a dark blue suit jacket over a neat shirt, sleeves folded up. Behind him, the art shop wall was full of butterfly drawings. Different ways, different tools, some strong and bright, others light and moving. They were hers, her butterfly art. She turned to him, amazed. "You?" Jack nodded, moving nearer. "I pay for art shows," he said calmly. "Under a group I run for new artists. I saw what you drew. I saw how you gave a scared small girl colors before you asked anything." He pointed to the art behind him. "I had the cafe get what you left on the table. I asked them to look for you if you ever came back. I wished you would." Anna's voice was almost silent. "You are the one who sent me the note?" He nodded. "I wanted you to come with no thoughts, no worry, just interest." She looked again at the drawings. Her hands shook. "Why me?" Jack's eyes were gentle, steady. "Because your art talks," he said. "It makes better, like you did for Mia. You saw a child in trouble and gave coloring sticks, not asking things. The world needs more of that kind." Anna felt her breath stop in her chest. He went on, voice kind. "I want to support your first single show. Full help, place, art tools, all things. No rules, just your art, just you." Water filled her eyes, sudden and too much. "Jack, I am not anyone. I have been sent away from every art place I tried. I cannot even pay house rent next week." "Then let's make that different," he said plainly. He moved ahead and gave her a small paper holder. Inside was a deal paper, short, easy to read, right. She looked up at him, voice shaking. "I don't know what to tell you." "Say yes," he answered. Anna nodded, swallowing hard. Then almost shyly she said, "You never told me your family name." Jack laughed quietly. "Chambers." Her eyes grew big. "That name?" She had seen it in writings on art shop signs. Jack Chambers, starter of the Chambers Art Group, a man who once gave a lot of money to keep a street artist's wall painting in Brooklyn safe. She covered her mouth with her hand. "You are that Jack?" He gave a small smile. "Still just me, as a father." And then, more softly, "And maybe a person who trusts in butterflies." The days before the art show became long hours of drawing, painting, wiping wet eyes, and starting over. Anna put all her effort into the art boards as if every feeling she had kept inside for years now needed to be shown. Her small art room smelled of paint thinner and old coffee. She worked without shoes, her clothes marked with blue and yellow colors. Each art board turned into a true telling, a letting go. Her butterflies no longer moved shyly in corners. They flew, wings wide, across big, bright heavens. Jack came often. He never stayed too long, never stood too close. He would bring her coffee from the cafe and sit quietly watching her work, sometimes giving a smile, sometimes just being there. One afternoon, as dark clouds came and rain started to hit the windows hard, Anna went outside to get her drying drawings, but a strong wind took one off the string, a light water painting, still wet, and made it fall into the water pools. She cried out, running after it, but by the time she got to it, the edges were already turning dark with water. Jack showed up beside her very fast. He did not speak a word. Instead, he took the long cloth from around his neck, a deep green wool that still felt warm, and softly dabbed the water off the paper. His hands were slow, careful, respectful, like he was looking after something holy. Anna watched, her heart full and throat tight. She softly said, "You did not need to." "I wanted to," he said simply. It should have been enough, this calm way they had found. But not everyone was happy about her rise. The week of the show, quiet talks began to spread online. A nameless person from an art shop she had once asked for work had put up a very mean message. "From coffee maker to art show, dear. So fast. All it needs is a sad tale and the right man to buy it. Anna stopped still when she read it. Then more came, claims that she had acted like a hurt person, used her poor state as a show, that she had tricked her way to success. It felt like someone had put their hand inside her chest and squeezed her heart until it broke. That night she sat on the cold floor of her art room, her hands marked with paint, her breathing shallow. She softly told herself, "Maybe they are right. Maybe I don't belong in any art space. Maybe this was just a wrong move." The knock came softly. Jack walked inside without speaking. He did not ask what went wrong. He had already seen the messages. He kneeled beside her and without a word gave her a folded paper. It was a note written in a child's messy hand. "Thanks for the butterflies. They helped me rest again." Anna held the note to her chest. Then Jack sat next to her and put a hand on her shoulder. "Let them say what they wish, Anna," he said kindly. "The truth does not need to yell. It just needs to be firm." He looked into her eyes, steady and calm. "And you? You showed goodness when no one was looking. That is a light no false story can ever make dull." Water ran down her face. But this time she let it happen. Not from giving up, but from knowing someone had seen her, truly seen her, and still trusted her. The night of the art show was calm and perfect. People moved through the art shop's clean room, walls covered in soft white, gentle lights showing Anna's paintings with golden rings. Bottles of fizzy drink shone on smooth tables at the sides of the room. But the main part of the event was the art everywhere. Anna's butterflies, each color, touch, and line shake, seemed to float between surprise and being delicate. Anna, in a plain dark blue dress and low boots, stood in the middle of it all. She spoke softly to guests, her voice strong yet kind. She told how each butterfly started as a thought of hope, how art had become her main help. Over others' shoulders, she could feel Jack looking, standing a few steps back. He wore a dark gray suit, an open white shirt. His eyes were clear, his face showing a mix of pride and care. Hours went by in a rush of talk and praise. As the crowd grew smaller, Anna felt a strong sense of thanks and calm. She was not by herself anymore. Then, just before Anna took a moment to rest, the art shop doors opened quietly, and there she was, Mia, shining in a simple white dress that glowed like moonbeams. In her small hand, she carried her worn box of crayons, the one Anna had given her weeks back. Anna's breathing stopped. The art shop seemed to grow quiet. Mia moved through the people and came to her. She looked at Anna with big eyes, then put her arms around her middle. "Can I draw another butterfly next to yours?" she asked, her voice small but firm. Anna kneeled, tears shining. She nodded, her voice shaking a little. "Yes, dear one, right here." She led Mia to a small stand placed next to one of her bigger artboards, an artboard of many blues and golds, a butterfly coming out of shadow. Anna moved back and gave the child a pink crayon. Mia bent down on a small seat. Softly, she began to draw. Gentle lines curved and joined until a small, bright butterfly showed up beside Anna's own work. A quiet fell over the people still there, a silent moment of beauty, of ongoingness. Jack watched from the other side of the room. His chest went up and down slowly, his eyes fixed. Pride filled him, but so did happiness and calm. He stepped forward, careful not to bother the moment. He held out his hand to Anna, a soft ask to come with him. She took it after a moment, warmth going through her fingers. Anna and Jack walked together, eyes on Mia's drawing, hearts joined by hope. Later, after the people had left and only quiet music filled the halls, Jack led Anna back to where her art pieces hung. He turned to her, voice low but sure. "You gave me hope," he said. "You gave all of us a reason to see loveliness again." Anna swallowed. "I did not do this by myself." He smiled, putting his hand into his pocket. A small soft box came out, and he opened it to show a thin chain, a small silver butterfly hanging in mid-air. "I want this to make you recall," he said, putting it around her neck, "that your art will always give ideas, but more than that goodness changes lives." Anna's fingers touched the hanging piece, her eyes wet with grateful tears. Jack went on softly, I care for you, Anna, and not for the drawings, but for the bravery behind them." She leaned onto him, heart full. Below them, on the walls and on the very small artboard, butterflies moved lightly, their wings now making a new tale, a tale of getting better, of family, of deep care. The days after the art show passed in calm, soft ways. Anna found herself spending more hours with Jack and Mia. What started as easy coffees and walks turned into a regular habit. Saturday mornings full of finger painting, weekday nights with shared hot drinks and happy sounds. Jack often came to her art room with her most liked pastry, while Anna put fun drawings into Mia's books for sleep. People they did not know sometimes thought they were a family. One wet afternoon, Jack said they should stop by a calm cafe by the river. Inside, the lights were low, the windows steamed. Soft music played in the back as they took a corner seat. Anna, in her old sweater, sat by the window. Mia sat between them with rosy cheeks and feeling warm. Water fogged the glass, and Jack gave Mia a paper cloth. She laughed softly, then took out a pen from Anna's bag. With slow moves, she drew butterflies, a small home, and then, without planning, a heart. Inside it, in uneven letters, she wrote, "Anna and Daddy." Anna's breathing stopped while she drank. Her face turned red. Jack saw it too, and laughed gently. "She might be right about something," he said, his voice easy. Mia looked up with pride. "It's your kind family," she said, "like in the storybook. People who fit together, even if they did not begin like that." Anna felt a small shake in her chest, joy and worry mixed. Later that night, after Mia had gone to sleep in the car and Jack had driven them home, he walked Anna to her steps. Light rain fell softly around them. "Sometimes I feel like this is too wonderful." Anna's voice was quiet. "Like if I breathe too strongly, it might go away." Jack moved nearer. "You think this is a dream?" She nodded. "I lost all I had once. When the art shop said no to me, when I could not pay for my house, I started to think maybe I was not meant for anything that stays. Not deep feeling, not even art." He held her hand softly. "Anna, what you gave Mia that day in the cafe was not just coloring sticks. You gave her peace when I could not. You gave her color when all felt dull." He stopped, his voice soft but sure. "You rescued her. That does not fade." Her eyes filled. "But I am still afraid." "Then be afraid," Jack said, his hold strong. "But be afraid with me, because I am not leaving." She looked up, looking at his face for any doubt. There was none, only firm kindness. "I want this," she whispered. "But I don't know how to be a place of comfort for someone." "You already are," he said gently, "to her and to me." He bent down and kissed her, calm, sure. A promise, not a question. Back inside the cafe, the heart Mia had drawn still gently stuck to the window. Rain made its edges unclear, but the sign stayed, just like theirs. And for the first time in a long while, Anna let herself trust in something that would last, something drawn in wet weather and deep care. A year had gone by, and the times of Anna's life had fully changed. She now stood at the front of a sunny room in a community center placed in Brooklyn. The walls were covered with big pictures and drying paper butterflies, and the floor had small marks of paint. Happy sounds filled the room. A group of children came together around wood tables, their hands messy with sticky stuff and happiness. Anna's heart felt more full than she had ever felt. Once a week, she held a free art lesson for children who did not have much. Some facing worry, others from troubled homes, all of them looking for ways to show feelings. She helped their hands, taught them about colors and ideas, but more key, she taught them safety, goodness, and the brave heart to make things. She was now the art leader of a free art group for kids fully paid by Jack's helping part. But more than the work, more than the art room and the honor, what Anna valued most were the two people who made her life whole, Jack and Mia. They were no longer guests in her life, they were her life. That afternoon, the lesson was ending when Mia came into the room wearing her most liked purple clothes, cheeks red with joy. She held a mid-sized picture holder wrapped in brown paper and tied with a cord. Anna smiled and bent down. "What do you have there, dear?" Mia gave her the frame with big eyes. "Open it." Anna untied the cord and turned the frame over. Inside was an empty white artboard, totally clean. Confused, she turned it over once more. On the back in Jack's writing were the words, "Will you be our lasting art?" Anna's breath caught. When she looked up, Jack was already moving forward through the classroom door. Dressed simply in a blue top and pants, he was holding a small soft box in his hand. He came to her slowly, then kneeled beside Mia, the box held gently between his fingers. "You made her well, Anna," he said, voice full of feeling. "You made me well. You showed us how to draw outside the usual ways and still see prettiness. You gave us a tale when we did not know how to start a new one." He opened the box, showing a thin ring, its middle a small blue gem set in soft flowing gold. Plain, graceful, like her. "Will you color this life with us?" he asked. "Always?" Anna could barely talk. The room blurred around her, children watching silently, sun shining through the window, the sound of her heart beating loud in her ears. She fell to her knees, eyes full of water. "Yes," she softly said many times. "Yes." Mia made a high sound and put her arms around both of them. Jack pulled them into a tight hug, happy sounds and tears mixing in the afternoon glow. Later that evening, after the center had shut and the classroom was still, Anna took her paint tool. On the biggest artboard she had ever had, she started a new picture, not of butterflies, but of something even more dear. A small girl with wavy hair, her eyes full of awe. A tall man, firm and gentle, his hand resting safely on her shoulder. And next to them, a woman with bright hair, her hand held out, holding a paint tool, not to draw what was, but to form what might be, a family. And below, in Anna's neat writing, she put the name, The Art That Never Ended. Because love, like art, is never truly done. It gets bigger, it gets softer, it waits, and it lives on in every move of goodness. Goodness is never just a short time, it becomes a great work. If this tale touched your feelings, even just a little bit, think how many more are waiting to be found. At Our Stories, we trust in the strength of small good deeds, calm bravery, and the times that change lives. If you found hope in Anna's path and felt the warmth of a feeling drawn in quietness and shade, there is much more to come. Sign up for soul-stirring stories now. Join a group that praises toughness, caring, and the charm of human nature. New touching stories are shared every week, made to reach your heart and remind you that even the smallest good act can turn into someone's greatest work. Press that sign up button and let us keep your heart full of ideas.